Hello, this is Mayor Bollwage, and welcome to another edition of Our City. Keep in mind that this Saturday, March 11th, is Parade Day in Union County. Parade Day is in Union, New Jersey, mostly on Morris Avenue. The Senator Joe Cryan is our Grand Marshal, who you're going to hear from in a few minutes, as well as the Parade Chairman, Mr. Michael Capko. But just keep in mind you can visit our social media sites and get any information you need regarding events in the city of Elizabeth, any COVID testing, or any vaccine information at elizabethnjvaccine.org. And keep in mind that personal responsibility is extremely important. And if you have any questions, you can call our public information office at 908-820-4124 for any information that you may need. So I'd like to welcome to the show the senator from the 20th District who represents Elizabeth, Union, Roselle, and Kenilworth, and that's Senator Joe Cryan. Senator, welcome to the show.
Mayor, thanks for having Michael and myself.
And also I'd like to welcome Mr. Michael Capko, who is the general chairperson of the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Union County. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us. Great to be here.
So, Mike, we'll go with you first, since I know an awful lot about Joe. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got here.
Well, I mean, born and raised in Union County, first of all, a local guy. Got involved with the parade back in 2007. My dad is a retired sergeant from the Union Police Department. After he retired, was looking to stay invested in the community, stay around his friends in Union. So we got involved in the parade in 2007 on the adjutant staff, just helping organize the parade, kind of taking direction and, helping put the line of march together. So it's been, 15, 16 years now that I've been a part of it and just kind of naturally grown throughout the years. So I'm lucky, I'm grateful, honored to be in the role of general chair at this point.
So, Senator, what took it so long to move this guy up from 2007 and now? What?
His father was in the way. His father, Harry Capko. Michael's part of the family legacy, but Harry finally stepped aside. Kidding aside, Michael's been an invaluable part of the parade and has done a great job as our chairman this year.
And Senator, tell us about yourself. You've got a storied name here in Union County. You've been around in a lot of elective offices in the township of Union, moving up to our senator, served as state chairman. Give us a little background.
Well, thanks for asking. I've had the privilege. I've lived in the township of Union since 1983. I grew up in Newark, actually, in the Valesburg section, along with Michael's father, Harry, and a few other expatriates that have found their way to Union County as well. And first went into political life as the chairman of the Township of Union, ran off the line, and then ultimately had the opportunity and the honor to be in the General Assembly. I joined that in 2001, along with Senator Lesniak and Assemblyman Cohen at the time. Had the honor of working for a great man, Sheriff Ralph Froelich, who I know you remember fondly, as his undersheriff, his administrative undersheriff, when we lost the sheriff, who was a great supporter of the parade over the years as well, along with yourself. And when we lost the sheriff, decided to run for his office to keep continuity there. Had the privilege of being the sheriff, and then along with many great political leaders' support, I'll leave it at that for the folks on this call. And I had the opportunity to become the senator in 2017 for the 20th District. It's a great honor, and hopefully one we try to bring a sense of excellence to each day.
And Senator, you also served as a state Democratic chairman, which is a pretty lofty title in New Jersey.
It is, and it was also, you realize how lucky you are in life sometimes, right? I was the vice chair of the party with Jim McGreevy, and Bonnie Watson Coleman was our chair. Bonnie and I developed a great friendship, and then when Bonnie stepped aside in 2006, I had the opportunity to become state chair. What a great experience, up and down the state, talking to Democrats, different values. I've learned there is no organized party, right? The old line, I'm a Democrat. But I also learned how much people...
Will Rogers.
Will Rogers, thank you, Mayor. But I've also learned that people generally in our party, and I'm sure they do in others as well, generally care about people. You know, it's a little bit kind of what the parade's about, remembering your own, making sure you do good by your own folks. And the Democratic Party, I think, does that very well.
So, Michael, tell us the St. Patrick's Day Parade, when it is, what's the logistics, get us going, what your role is.
Sure. So the parade, as was mentioned before, March 11th, this Saturday, weather dependent, but we're hoping for clear skies and decent temperatures. The rain date, if we have to go there, is March 25th, 2 weeks after that. The day begins with a great mass down at St. Patrick's in Elizabeth at 9 a.m. The grandstand program on the corners of Morris and Stuyvesant is then at 12 p.m. and the parade kicks off at 1 p.m. sharp. So for anyone that's attended before, a lot of the great bands and groups that we're used to seeing year after year. This year, we are incorporating a bit of something different, having food trucks along the way. We really want to bring things to people as opposed to asking them to kind of meet in one central spot or maybe walk along the route, things like that. So we're going to have food trucks spread throughout, all different types of food, from coffee to Irish fare to desserts and everything in between. Some stilt walkers, balloon animal makers, things like that along the way. So we're really trying to make it a little easier for families to kind of experience not just what's going by them, but to kind of take it one step further and really experience the parade.
Senator, talk to us about the route. You've been there from the very beginning of the parade, and you helped plan the original route. Same route? Any changes?
Same route. We start on Morris Avenue, as you mentioned in the opening, and primarily at Morris Avenue and Jeanette, which is where the Union Knights of Columbus is, and Morris Avenue and Commerce, which is where the CVS is, as kind of a landmark for folks. We organize there and come down Morris Avenue. We make a right as you're coming eastbound towards the city of Elizabeth, shall we say. As you come eastbound, and then you make a right and come across Stuyvesant Avenue, where we finish up at the end near Chaffee's and down the road. It's about a mile long, the route. And the route was selected because Union only has 2 parallel roads, and we had to make sure one was open for emergency vehicles, as well as gives us great exposure. I think it's important to realize, though, Chris, and I do want to take a moment, the generosity and the support of the city of Elizabeth, as there are in many communities, has been a mainstay of the parade. You and I both know we share Parade Day morning together at St. Pat's, and the legacy that is the St. Pat's Cathedral, not only for immigrants, but for the experience of the Irish experience in the city of Elizabeth, what it means to people to have that as a start. And the city has gone out of its way. We've not only recognized great Irish leaders along the way, but not only with support with emergency personnel, but you've done a yeoman's job in making sure that the parade is successful, not just for the Irish, but for all cultures in our county, and I thank you for that.
Well, our motorcycle police really enjoy the day as well, Senator. So
we enjoy having them, I don't mind saying.
Michael was talking about rain, Senator. You're going to be the Grand Marshal. Tell us about, it's not going to rain on your parade, is it?
No, it never does. I'm that guy. But it's a great honor, Chris, to be the Grand Marshal. My dad's an immigrant from County Roscommon. We've chatted about that once or twice. Came to this country literally with $5 in his pocket, and had the opportunity to go over to McGovern's Tavern in Newark, New Jersey, where Frank McGovern helped him out, gave him a little bit of financial support along the way. In those days, the taverns and the bars were the Irish meeting place, the opportunity to succeed, and found jobs along the way. Ended up having 3 jobs, including driving a trolley for public service. Ultimately decided to take a risk, go into his own business and begin his own tavern at 1101 South Orange Avenue in Newark. Ultimately, along the way, he owned over 30 different businesses, 30 different bars and restaurants. You're talking about somebody who came here with nothing, absolutely nothing, and had the courage, like so many before him, to get on a boat and decide that America, the land of opportunity, was where he wanted to be. Succeeded very well. Also went into the political life. I mentioned to you a couple titles I've had. My father had those same titles, assemblyman and sheriff. It's a great country when you can have that opportunity to not only learn to grow up where someone appreciates the American experience and dream firsthand, but you also have that opportunity to recognize it yourself. My mother's parents are from County Donegal, and I tell this story, Michael's heard it a couple times. When you walk down the street and you remember your heritage, everyone remembers how they grew up. And whether you're Irish or whether you're any other cultural experience, I hope people bring those memories. The one I'll share is that when I was a kid, my sister and I used to go to my uncle's house, which was on Kerrigan Boulevard in the Vailsburg section in Newark. And on Sunday nights, my grandmother would have her sister over. And they were both from Donegal, Rathmullen, and they would sit and they would catch up on the news. They would talk about what they heard during the week. And as a young person, I'll say in this day and age, you may not be thought of highly, but as a young person, she'd say, go get your grandmother a highball. And you were 5 or 6 years old and you poured the ginger ale and the whiskey and you brought it back out. And they would talk about their experiences in Ireland and they would sing songs. And there was nothing about, you would sit on the green ottoman. For those of us that remember ottomans in those days, you'd sit on the green ottoman and you'd listen to them sing and you'd listen to them talk about what this country meant to them and how much they missed the country that they left. And they left for opportunity as well. So when I walk down the street, Chris, I'll think of my father, I'll think of my mother, but I'll think of those Irish songs along the way. And what I tell folks is,
Senator, I'm thinking of ottomans and highballs. I haven't heard those terms in a long time. You're showing your age.
it's showing the age a little bit, but you know what? It's part of it, right? And it kind of makes you sentimental to being fortunate enough to have the honor this year.
So, Mike, tell us about your role and what you're doing. Also, any surprises, any new guests, anybody coming? You talked about the balloons and the face painters. Any special guests in attendance?
The balloons and the face painters and trying to bring the parade to the people on the street. I would say that is the biggest change. I think there's a lot of familiar and good things. We have about 23 bands spread throughout the parade. A band coming from Ireland that Joe is very familiar with. We're excited to have them. They come over once every few years. So it's a great opportunity to kind of introduce our celebration and how we celebrate Irish culture here in America, to those right from Ireland. So looking forward to that. The parade itself, it's just such a great family event. And that has really been the goal since the beginning. Predates me, but when this parade started in 1997, I know that right off the bat, the goal was for it to be family friendly. And I think we've really stuck to that year in and year out. So, local organizations, Boy Scouts, Little Leagues, Girl Scouts, Irish dancing schools, we really try to make it about families and kids here in Union County, and an opportunity to celebrate our culture.
So, Michael, what's the hardest part about putting this together as general chairperson? Not dealing with a whole bunch of Irish guys, is it?
Getting along with the Grand Marshal.
That's been the easy part. It is, I have to say, it's such a great team of people that work on every event. It's a year-round thing. We have a golf outing in the fall. There are events over the winter. So, I keep thinking that Parade Day really becomes a celebration and the culmination of all our work. It is not just the only thing that we work towards, but it kind of almost wraps up that season for us. So, the 40 or 50 people that regularly volunteer, no questions asked, show up at 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning and here's 20 people waiting, asking, how can I help? What can I do? It really makes the job a lot easier. So to have those partners, our parade adjutant, Gabby Sully, is from start to finish organizing every organization that marches in the parade, every band, every contract, working with public safety in the Township of Union and across the county. So she has been such an important part of this as well. So just want to take a second to recognize her, but it's a challenge, but it's a fun challenge. And we're happy to get involved. That's the thing. I think everyone on the parade committee looks forward to giving back to our community and being able to celebrate at the end of all this with our parade.
Senator, 26 years, I guess, is my calculation since it started in 1997. It's been a heck of a run. And really, it was your vision 26, 27 years ago to start this. Michael's kind of like a new guy, 2007. I guess you've worked with a lot of people through the years to make this a success. Tell us about some of the noteworthy thoughts or moments, besides being the Grand Marshal, Senator, that come to mind.
Well, thanks for the question. The first would be the first year. We were exceptionally nervous the first year. Our adjutant was John Langan from the prosecutor's office, and we had lost our Grand Marshal from the time that we named him. He had passed away to the parade. We were very, very nervous, had no idea whether anybody would come, had no idea. And a couple of those I remember, the big crowds on the street, which has been something consistent year after year. And I remember how important it was to us to start at 1 o'clock. Governor Whitman had showed up to give comments, which was very gracious of her. And John, as the adjutant, blew the whistle right in the middle of her comments and said, "We got to get going," and started the parade. Right, we want to establish that now. We've had some great grand marshals over the years, and I think, you know, one of the joys of the parade has been to watch folks take their own identity and share their family's history and what the parade has meant to them. But we've also had, you know, I've tried this year a little bit to tie some things in. That mass, Chris, that you're an annual attendee of at St. Patrick's this Saturday at 9 a.m. will be celebrated by Father Gillen at St. Jen, who was our first chaplain. John Langan, the name I mentioned to you, read at our investiture mass just a couple weeks ago. And our parade announcer this year, joining our friend Tony Brennan, who's done it for years, is Ed Neefsey, who used to be the Union County prosecutor and a retired judge, Irish historian. We're bringing back a little bit, while you can see Michael and Gabby, who we mentioned. These folks are in their 20s and 30s. There's a next generation coming up. That means the parade will have a long established tradition for years to come.
And Michael, your effort behind the scenes, any comments about things that happen behind the scenes that you may want to share with all of us?
I think it goes back to the work, you know, that it is a year-long effort, and it doesn't happen overnight. And there's just that group of people that work day in and day out to put the parade on the street. So you may see me or, you know, the Grand Marshal or the adjutant kind of being the face, but it is so much about the behind the scenes work. And, you know, I think the nice part is we have quite a bit of fun along the way too. It's not all work. It's a lot of fun and play as well. So, but to work with local restaurants and bars and organizations, things like that, I think it just really ties together the Union County community, which, like I said, I've been a part of my entire life. It's nice to see familiar faces from when I was a kid, or, you know, that I've gotten to know over the years, and kind of tie that all together. So no real surprises. I think our hard work pays off in the end. That's the biggest, the biggest thing for us.
So, Michael, I need a golf cart from the reviewing stand to the start of the parade every year. Are those golf carts still there?
Yeah, I think we can make that happen. Sure.
I got to get up. As you know, Senator, I march with the Nugent Association every year. They're one of the original groups, I believe, in the parade.
Kevin Dowling in particular, and some of the folks from Nugent were as instrumental in the first parade as me or anyone else. A number of groups came together, wrote bylaws. The tradition of Nugent in this parade, as it has been in the North Parade before it, is legendary, to be candid. And I'm looking forward to having a Dowlings open again next year, so that I know will transition to being the headquarters for the parade, just because of the Dowling family outreach and all that they do. You know, Michael didn't mention it, but I do want to take a moment. For example, this year we're remembering, there's 5 divisions. We always remember Trooper Hanratty, which is a great honor for the city of Elizabeth and his heroism. But this year we're remembering Mary Ann Murphy, who is a longtime Nugent. Chris knows her. Chris knew Mary Ann very well. We lost her over the last couple of years. We're remembering for the first time a current chaplain, Father Charles McDermott. Chuck's been with us for years, so we decided to name. He's also the chaplain for the Union Fire Department and for other first responders. So we decided, Michael and Gabby decided to name after him. We've also named the division after Father, and I don't really know how to say his name correctly, the founder of the Knights of Columbus nationally, Father McGivney, I think is how you pronounce it. I apologize for that. As a knight, I should be embarrassed. But so the national, we're expecting a nice turnout from the Knights of Columbus. And then finally, the Hannon family, longtime business owners in the township of Union, 4 brothers who took over a business from their father, carpeting, flooring, bagpipers, family history in public service as well. So we're excited that the divisions have been named. Michael doesn't mention it, but there's a lot of behind the scenes thoughtfulness on things like that, and it comes out so incredibly wonderful that we can touch people's lives and recognize them. I will tell you this: on Saturday we're going to, Michael, you should talk about who we're going to dedicate the parade to and who's coming to accept a check, if that's okay, Mayor.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, you know, each year we work on a dedication for the parade, and over the years, we have, you know, worked, dedicated the parade to our first responders, healthcare heroes, you know, really thinking who gives back to their community and who represents what it means to be Irish, what it means to be driven to serve your community. So this year we are dedicating the parade to those that are impacted by hunger across the world, which takes shape in so many different forms. And we are thrilled to be able to honor St. Joseph Social Service Center. So Bernadette Murphy, sorry. Bernadette Murphy will be there to make a few comments, but really talk about the work that they do in Elizabeth and throughout Union County to really just give people those basic needs, which can help out so much in the bigger picture and hopefully set people along on a better path. So the Irish are obviously not immune to being impacted by hunger and to know that struggle. And we really felt it was important to tie that back to not only our own community, but to think about our brothers and sisters across the world that, that also suffer from that. So, the little part that we can do, support our local agencies and honor them at the parade. But that is the parade dedication and who we'll be working with, to honor this issue.
Michael, I want to thank you for your time and all of your hard work in helping make this year's parade a great success. And Senator, I look forward to walking behind you on March 11th, this Saturday, in order to follow you on Morris Avenue as you lead the Irish in this parade of 2023. Senator Joe Cryan, thank you for your leadership. Michael, thank you for your work and your hard efforts. And we'll see you on Saturday.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
This is Mayor Chris Bollwage. We'll see you next week on another edition of Our City. And make sure you come out on Saturday, 1 o'clock, Morris Avenue. Support the Irish. See you then.